Hi guys, today I will be recording a video of how I make my pork belly with squash. I just want to show you guys the simple, easy recipe. So I'll be feeding a family of 5 people. So you get 2.5 pounds of pork belly. You chop it up, little squares. You can take off the fat if you want to, but I really don't. It actually tastes really good. I use these to prep my food, which is, they come in handy. And here's my squash. So you'll need 1 squash and 2.5 pounds of pork belly for this. And you can feed up to 5 people with this meal. And it's all under 15 bucks. So you're gonna wanna cut your squash about 1/2 inch. Just like that. Okay, and you can just remove that part off. Ooh. And then here we go. Now you're gonna want to wait to add the squash, because it does burn, so the meat does take longer. So about 10 to 15 minutes in, I'll add the squash. So there we go. Just wanted to look nice and even. So squares like that. Just like that. And you can add more squash, but I just like to put 1. And just letting this heat on medium heat over here. Put 2 tablespoons of extra olive oil. And I'm gonna put some of the seasoned Phillips on there, and also your Wonder Crust. Now you can find this right next to the cilantro, and it looks like this. It's called Wonder Crust, and this will give it the flavor and the crunchiness that it needs. It's also called Water Crust as well, Wonder or Water Crust, and it'll give it the flavor. It'll bring out the flavor on the pork belly. And you're going to want to add this at the very last, like the last 3 minutes of you cooking the pork belly. You're going to add this to it because it's going to give it the crunch. You don't want it to be soggy, you want it to be crunchy. So that's what's going to give you that flavor. It's going to just burst your mouth with flavor. And I just like to wash this because, you just want to wash all your vegetables anytime you get any. And this you just throw away, you just cut the end. So here I have my rice. This is a rice cooker. And I put enough just to feed 5 people. So there it is. Alright, and then I will be adding the meat right now because it looks like it is ready. So last but not least, your chicken broth. You can find this in the broth section. This is like $1. You're gonna add it to it. So remember, you're not gonna put a lot of this, just 2 tablespoons, and just sprinkle some of this. You're gonna need some chicken broth, and your squash, and your water crust, and of course your rice as well. Now, this is already done, but this will keep it nice and warm. And you don't want it too hot when you add the pork belly because it will start jumping. So I would just let it cook for just a little bit and then add the pork belly right away. And then you add the chicken broth, so it kind of looks like this right now. You don't want nothing jumping or anything like that, so make sure you get a lid to your pot. There we go. You don't want a lot of the olive oil, so just a little bit in there. You just put a little tiny bit just to get it started and for nothing to stick. You can actually even use coconut oil for the bottom for it not to stick, but I was just using olive oil. So here. Alright, And I think I'm ready to chop this up a little bit. So I will be cutting this into 4s. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or just 1 more. There we go. And that's just perfect. And guys, I will be linking the whole recipe down below, so that way you guys know too what you will need for this. Now you're gonna want to add the seasoning. Just like that. Alright. So you're just gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes until you see no red in the pork. And make sure you cook your pork all the way through, because pork is one of the meats that you cannot eat red. So it has been 15 minutes, and I'm just gonna stir this. And this is all under $15. You kind of want to let it get kind of like that on all the pieces. And that smells so good. Here I'm going to add 1 cup of water, because most of the liquid in here already evaporated. So it's been simmering for about 20 minutes now. So it's been about 25 minutes. That's kind of how I like it. I'm gonna add the squash to it. This squash takes longer to cook than the watercress. So I'll add that. Add the squash first and then the watercress at the very end. So here we go. Mix that in. Let it cook for like 10 more minutes on medium heat. Okay, I'm now ready to add the water crisp. So here we go. Close that. Leave it for 3 more minutes. And I always wash as I go, so it's that. Alright, so it's been about 5 more minutes. And I'm just gonna turn it off. And it should be ready. And also with the watercress, you can add as much as you want. You don't have to really put as much as I did, but I just like a lot of flavor, so I put a lot in there. You can put half the bunch, a quarter of the bunch, doesn't matter. I just don't like to really use a lot of salt and stuff, so this gives it all the flavor. So it's been sitting for about 5 minutes. Here I got some rice. I'm just gonna go ahead and make my bowl. go. There you have it. Pork belly with watercrouts.